Hi guys, welcome back to another brutally honest advice episode. Hey guys, if you haven't seen part 1 yet, I highly encourage you to watch that first. I'll put the link in the description. Today we're going to go through how to remain unbothered, how to stop giving people access to your peace. Let's get into it. Point number 7, stop trying to prove yourself, just move on. One of the biggest things that keeps us, specifically me, that used to keep me from being unbothered was this constant need to prove I was doing better. Absolute delusion. Not necessarily to the world, but to specific people. If you know what I mean, you know. I think everyone knows what I'm talking about, specifically the women. Very petty. It's very petty and it consumes so much energy. It's so much work. You know what I'm talking about when like you've broken up with someone and you block their number and you block their Instagram, but you keep them on Snapchat just so that they can like kind of see that you still got it. You can post stuff and post quotes and they'll see it and think it's about them, and you kind of like sending them into a little spiral, showing them, oh, you could have had this but you don't anymore and I'm doing so well without you. It's just so, it's actually like, that's actually very high school. And if you're still stuck in that, let me save you the strength and energy. Let's go into this point before I start going off topic, but this point is for you. And it may not necessarily be the ex, it may be an old friend, it may be a colleague that stole your position, a friend who underestimated you, the person who hurt you, or the person who didn't choose you. And here is the fact of it. If you are still trying to prove something to someone, they still have access to you. You may not notice, but they do. Maybe not physically, but mentally, absolutely. Real healing doesn't look like, oh, I'm gonna post this so that they might see it, or looking at their stories to see what they're doing and being like, oh, like that's your new girlfriend. You know what I mean? Or you constantly posting to see if they notice your glow up and you secretly wanting them to regret losing you. That is not moving on. Baby, let me hold your hand. It's too late, I've already said it. That is performing for an audience. And the truth is, the moment you start building your life around someone else's reaction, you've handed them a power they didn't even earn. After a breakup, after you got fired, whatever it is, don't keep them on Snapchat or on a social media platform so that they can watch you win. Unfriend them, move on. After a friendship ends, don't keep tabs on them so that you can prove, oh, I have other friends that treat me better than you did. Unfriend them, move on. If you find yourself posting, dressing, or making decisions with only one specific person in mind, that is your sign. That is your sign to remove access and move on. Because the goal isn't to make them see your worth. Goal is to stop needing them to. Out of sight becomes out of mind becomes peace, and peace becomes freedom. And freedom is a lot more satisfying than winning a game they didn't even know you were playing. If your success still needs an audience, you're not moving on, you are performing. Stop doing emotional labor for people who wouldn't do it for you. One of the reasons people continue staying bothered and in a state of just constant overthinking is because they are carrying emotional weight that was never theirs to carry. They're explaining, fixing, justifying, managing everyone's emotions, making everyone feel comfortable, giving endless chances, all while the other person contributes absolutely nothing. And eventually you have to start asking yourself, why am I doing all the work in a relationship that involves 2 people? Self-value isn't just about knowing your worth. It's about knowing when you're overextending yourself for people who don't value it. If someone takes days to reply, but they expect immediate access to you, stop performing. If someone never checks in, but always expects support from you, stop performing. If someone constantly tries to misunderstand you and expects you to explain yourself to them over and over and over again, stop performing. The goal isn't revenge, don't get me wrong. It is reciprocity. And it's so funny that it makes some people uncomfortable when you give them the same effort they've been giving you all this time. Try it and find out for yourself. And some may call it a personality change. I like to call it investment matching. Point number 9, make them sit with their own behavior. I initially had this written as mirror the energy they give to you, but then I realized some people may take that wrong. I would have said that back in the day. I'm a healed girl now. I'm on my way to healing. So don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to say become cruel. I'm not even trying to say get even with them, because don't ever lower yourself to get on their level. I'm saying stop protecting people from the consequences of their own behavior. Some people have spent years making other people uncomfortable while never having to experience discomfort themselves. Specifically, if we're going to talk about like body image, I've been skinny all my life. Very, very skinny growing up. Only now have I started to gain a bit of weight and I feel like I'm at a healthy place now. But growing up, I was extremely like skinny. And it's so odd that people think it's okay to comment on a skinny girl's body, but they would never comment on another person's body. Skinny people, the way they shame you, and I'm not trying to belittle other people's experiences, but I'm just saying from my experience, the way I was shamed, it was from people from all walks. You'd really be shocked where you get it from. It could be a friend, it could be a teacher, it could be absolutely anyone. It's painful because it was something I was very, very insecure about for the longest time. Even to this day, I'm still working on my insecurity. But growing up, there was one specific person that was held in a high position. No one said anything against her. Like what she said goes. Everyone would agree. And she's a bit of a weightier person. She's a bit on the thicker end. And I would never, ever, ever in my life comment on her weight. Ever. Anyone's weight. Unless it's like my sisters and stuff like that. Like family. Like I come from a islander background. Everyone speaks so openly about stuff like that. And if it's coming from family and I don't mind you, like it's my cousin, they're like, oh, you getting fat. Like I don't, like we're very like blunt like that. And that's absolutely fine. It really depends what the setting is and stuff like that. But if you're coming for me and I can feel like it's coming from a place that is not nice, or it's coming from a place where you're trying to hurt my feelings, whatever it freaking is, because it can't be anything nice. Anyways, so this lady, like she would always make comments on my body. She would say, if I rub you against a rock and a hard surface, you would light up like a matchstick because you're so skinny. And have you ever eaten a burger in all your life? They do this whole wrist test thingy mobobby where they're like try and see how skinny you are. Like all my life. Mind you, there's an audience. There's people around every single time that are hearing this, saying it out loud. And to not make things awkward, the room feel quiet and awkward, I always try to overcompensate and like giggle or smile or be like, oh, like make a joke out of it. But it really did hurt my feelings deep inside. But me not holding her accountable and making her feel as uncomfortable as she made me feel is something I'm learning to do, not just with her, but like everyone in my life. It doesn't even have to be about body image, anything in life. When people make you uncomfortable, put it back on them, make them feel uncomfortable. And I don't mean say, yeah, you're, I don't mean, don't go doing it. Don't go doing that, that's actually kind of fun. And then saying, yeah, life according to Vida told me to do that, don't do that, don't do that. I'm saying next time she says something about my body, I think I would just tell her, that's a bit rude to say. That makes me feel really sad. I'm trying to be more confident in my body and the comments you're saying is very upsetting. And let her sit with that discomfort because that would really open her eyes, let me tell you. Because no one's ever pulled her up on the things he says. And I love this woman to death. That's what I mean about putting it back on people, making them feel uncomfortable, making them realize that what they're saying to you has an impact on you. Let them have a restless night, because I used to go home and be restless about it. I'm gonna go home, drink my tea, get in my bed with my fluffy little blanket, and they can sit on that and feel really bad about themselves. I've spent enough years carrying other people's discomfort. They can hold their own for a change. You carry it. Moving on from my unneeded commentary, point number 10, and this is the last point of it all, the grey rock method. Let me tell you, narcissists hate this point. They cannot stand grey rocking. So I'm gonna kind of just read from my notes because it's much easier for me to go over what grey rocking is and how to apply it. The grey rock method is exactly what it sounds like. You become as emotionally exciting as a grey rock. Boring, neutral, unreactive, because some people do feed off your reaction. This is for manipulative, toxic, and drama-driven people. Attention is always their reward. Grey rocking looks like short answers, no emotional explanation, no defending yourself, no reacting to provocations. So just hit them with the okay, I understand, noted, that's fine, and then move on. I actually learned this one before I discovered that it is called grey rocking. I stumbled upon it by accident. How it happened was I was in a toxic workplace. I've been through some crap. I'm ready to retire. But anyways, this was not the call center. This was a different one. This guy was a freaking snake. He fed off reactions and he fed off trying to pin co-workers that are friends against each other in such a low-key way. Like he was so conniving. And I remember one time there was an incident. My boss caused havoc in the team, but it was all dependent on my reaction to the havoc because it was against me. It's like they were working together and they were waiting to see my reaction. And so we had a team meeting on Friday where we just go through what's happening. And I used to be there with my little handy pen and paper because when I work, I make sure the work is done. Like whatever points you give to me, I'm gonna make sure it's done by Friday. So I always go there with my pen and paper, like, yeah, what else? And the thing is, in these meetings, I never had a voice. Everyone had a voice and they would ask me for my opinion, but they would talk over me or they would just be like, no, that's a bad idea. Or like they absolutely never got an opinion. But I'm still there like, you know what, this isn't as bad as a call center. So I'm finna stick this out. I don't really give a damn. I'm just gonna make my money and go home. And at this meeting, I didn't have my pen and paper because I really didn't give a damn what they had to say. I was not happy. I usually try and give my opinion even though I keep getting shut down. And I just sat there absolutely silent. And let me tell you, that meeting was done. It was done so quick because usually I try to say something because my other colleagues, they don't really want to open their mouth. They're just like, oh, this is just gonna be more work for me. I'm just gonna sit here in silence. And I'm usually the one that's trying to like feed my input. And I didn't say anything, just sat there in silence the whole meeting. It was so obvious that like I wasn't happy and everyone already knew why I wasn't happy. And so once that meeting ended, he's like, everyone leave but Vida. And so I stayed back and I'm like, oh, God forbid I stay quiet in a freaking meeting because I'm upset at something you did to me and now I've got to stay back and explain myself. And so I stayed back. It was almost like he brought the issue up trying to see what my reaction would be. And he brought it up in like a giggly way. Like he was like, oh, I can't freaking wait to hear what she's gonna say. Like, yuck. Sick human. And he brought it up. He's like, are you upset because of this? I'm like, oh, you freaking pig. I'm so sorry. I'm supposed to be teaching you guys how to be unbothered and I'm so bothered. I'm still a work in progress, okay? This is real though. This is so real. I'm not gonna crop this out. This is real. This is how I'm feeling. Yeah, he was just like, are you upset because of that? And I was just like, no, I'm fine. Usually I try to explain myself and like be like, no, I'm not upset because of that. Like if this and this hadn't happened, like this wouldn't have had to happen and I wouldn't have been upset. Like, and I would try and defend myself, explain myself, like get you to see my point of view. And he would, you know, obviously do what he freaking does. And I just sat there, gave him absolutely nothing. Not because I was trying to grey rock him, but because I was so emotionally drained from this job and I had no fight left in me. So I didn't care. I really didn't care. So I just sat there and he was just like, are you upset about this? And I'm like, no, I'm good. He's like, so like, how did you feel about it? I'm like, it's fine. And so are you gonna talk to blah, blah, blah about it? And I'm like, no, I'm happy. And he's like, Vida, like, I just don't know why you're giving me this attitude. And I said, what attitude? Like, I'm good, I'm happy. It was so uncomfortable to be in that scenario because I'm such a people pleaser, but it had to be done because he wanted my freaking reaction and I didn't know he was a narcissist. I didn't know he wanted my reaction, but sitting there just awkward, just silence. Like I always try and fill in the gaps with like stuff to not make things awkward, but I just sat there, gave him nothing, like gave him -1 and he was fuming and I couldn't really understand it at the time. I'm like, what the frick is he so worked up about? Like he hurt my feelings and he's upset because I'm not upset. Like what? Narcissist, sick. And so I didn't discuss how I felt with anyone in the team. I quit 2 weeks later. I didn't even have a job lined up. I just quit because I'm like, if I let this slide, and I've let a lot slide. If I let this one slide, they will think it is absolutely okay to continue treating me the way they've been treating me in this workplace. I just can't. Like I have to draw the line somewhere. So I quit without having a job lined up, but I was so grateful because I was living at my mom's house. Like I knew I had the support if needed. God blessed me with a job literally days out. If not, it was probably the same day I got in a call back or was the next day, but it was such a close proximity. By the time it was my last day and I'd given in my 2-week notice, I already had that job lined up. So I never was without, ever was without. God took care of me. I'm so grateful for it. But that experience was so eye-opening to me because I've been protected all my life. Growing up with a single mother, she's really protected us and kept us in a little bubble. And so I've never really gotten to experience people like that ever. And I gave him so much of my energy, my time. I'm like, you don't even have to pay me for it. Like I'll stay back and make sure everything is good so that you don't have a lot on your plate. When we were understaffed, I was helping him do his job. That's what I mean. I gave so much and then to be betrayed like that and then like waiting to see my reaction, like what are you doing? What are you doing? How do you sleep at night? What the frick? Like what goes through people? Anyways, yeah. Wish him well. Never want to cross paths with him again, but that was my power move. That was me taking my power back. Yes, I let a lot of things slide, but I drew the line. He knew my boundary. Even though he didn't yell at me, he didn't swear at me because he knows not to do those things. He knew I was sensitive. All my bosses know I'm sensitive. He knew not to do those things, so he knew that was my boundary. He did everything else that was conniving and I accepted it because my boundary was A and B. I hadn't considered C and D. That's what I mean by really trying to get to know yourself, getting to know what your boundaries are, what you're willing to tolerate, what you're willing to accept. If you have to sleep on it after it's happened, come back and say, not okay with that. You know what I mean? But stick to them. Do not negotiate them for nobody. And so the main thread of all of my messages and all of these points is the way you value yourself determines what you will tolerate. Self-value is the the highest form of currency. Take care of yourself, know your values, and do not negotiate them for nobody. I'll end it with this quote: the most unbothered people aren't the ones who get triggered. They are the ones who stop giving people access to the trigger. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I was very passionate about this one. So if you guys have any other points that you want to add to this, add them in the comments below. Inspire other people and tell me what your thoughts are. Tell me what you want to see next, what you want me to speak on next, and I'll see you in the next one.